Good afternoon, everybody. Wee Paddy from across the shuck. You're very welcome to the channel. And I'm doing a video on detailed knives and some of my favourite. And to be honest with you, it nearly turned into a rant. And this is a sort of sometimes YouTube gets me, and the comments you get on YouTube really do wind me up. And sometimes I find it very hard to bite my tongue. But look, for goodness sake, even YouTubers are now starting to slate other people because they're getting a knife for free. Frick's sake, grow up. Just grow up. I mean, and I know certain ones that are doing it, and they've been refused from other companies because they don't want to give them knives, and it must be upsetting. I agree. But there's nothing I can do about it because I'm getting my knife, some of my knives for free, and it's a very small majority of my knives that I get for free. But stop fighting amongst each other. Just give it a... There's enough with the keyboard warriors, never mind us eating the face of each other. Just put down the knife that you enjoy and be happy you're able to do it in whatever price range. There we are. I've said it, and it wasn't a rant. I put these four down, and it sort of got to me that, should I put them down again? That's expensive. And I thought, no, I'll pick the topic, and they're my favourite knives in that topic. Are they the best knives in the world? They're the best I've got in that topic, so why wouldn't I want to show them? There is budget ones that will do exactly the same jobs, but they're not the best knives that I've got. And I do show enough that I started budget, so I know exactly where it is. But when you get into the knife hobby, if you're to stay with just budget, you'd only smoke one cigarette a day if you were a smoker. You'd only have one drink a day if you're a drinker. Once you get into this hobby, it's like an addiction, and you have to feed it. And that's the joy of it. But as long as you do it within your own boundaries. I have very strict boundaries of what I spend and what I don't spend. So getting the odd expensive knife to show is amazing. It helps me out. It helps the channel out. So I don't mind at all. But when I'm picking something, wouldn't you naturally want to show off your best stuff? It's just dead simple. That's it. But I have got other ones, and I usually throw other ones into the mesh that are more budget aimed. These are from about 100 to 100 to 280. There we go. That's it, over and done with. I'll show you ones that are much cheaper than that, as low as £2, that will do the same job as these. So why would I ever want to buy a knife better than £2 if it'll do the same job as these? Because it's my hobby. It's my hobby. And if I think something's nice, I can just tell you, I think it's nice. So I'm going to start with the best of the lot, in my opinion. The Jackals knives, the knives that I get sent for free. They're the best knives I have got in this category. And it's detailed knives and how useful they are. Now, I'm going to tell you that the truth, probably like most of us, I don't do a whole lot of detailed work. But when I was testing this here, I was cutting around pictures in a newspaper on a piece of paper, cutting wavy shapes just to see what it's like. It's amazing. An absolutely amazing knife for doing that sort of work. It's also great for cutting boxes. And the reason it's great is because it's flat. If you have a curved end going up to a spear point and you're cutting through a box, as you get down that curve, it directs the knife off the cut. Where the straight one, you go straight down, it'll go straight through the medium. That's why this is good for cardboard cutting and detailed work. And it'll do most other jobs as well. But that's what that blade shape is for. I sliced a bit of leather. It's amazing going through leather. And it was quite a thick bit of leather. Absolutely amazing. So I just think this is a cracker. And if you can afford one, buy it. I mean, I've had so many people come back and so few. In fact, I can't think of many that didn't really, well, I think of one, but that have bought them, and I've now gone on. One boy today, it made my day. He had said he'd bought 4 of them since since he'd watched my videos on them. That just made me feel lovely that he's getting to share and enjoying the same thing that I do. And isn't that what it's all about? Sharing your joy with somebody else and them getting it. And anybody that does a review is giving their opinion. Because you don't enjoy it, well, that's it. Maybe that reviewer is not for you, or maybe it's just that knife. That's as simple as it is. But you should always watch lots of videos, and don't take one person's advice. Go on the majority rather than the singular. But I still like watching people who are very singular on what they like, and that's absolutely fine. But that is just, as a craft knife, as a box shredder, it's unbelievable. So thin behind the edge. Let me just show you the edge in this. Look at that edge. Look how thin that stays at that level. Now it's a full hollow grind, so it's actually starting up around here somewhere, and you're getting that thin edge, which will last you a lifetime. A lifetime. So although you're investing a lot of money, if you're a heavy user, which I'm not, if you're a heavy user, this will pay you back. And so will the next one, which is the Pena. And I got this one specifically so that I can compare price for price. And these are £275. This was £285 when you could get the Penas. I think it's secondary market now for the Apache. I think they've stopped making them. But this is another hollow grind, not quite as deep as the Jack Wolf knives, but the fit and finish on it, the design, the feel in hand, the blade shape. And this, rather than the Wharncliffe, this is like a modified sheep's foot. There's lots of names. Just stick modified in front of it and throw out a blade. But it has that point that's low down that you can get in and do your cuts with. Again, everything I said about this knife will do it as well. This will do it as well. I believe this is a better cutter, but maybe this is more comfortable in hand by a little margin. I've talked about that in the reviews, but a super detailed knife that I love having in my collection. And I do chop and change. Here's probably the cheapest one that I've got here. This is just in and around the 100, just over the £100 maybe. This is an Ashley Harrison custom knife, and this is in the lamb's foot, so it's thinner down here than it is up here. There's not much difference in this one, and that's why I love it so much, because sometimes lamb foots can get a little bit too thin, especially more for box cutting and things like that. For detailed work, doesn't matter whatsoever. But this is beautiful. But it's not one that I would do for cutting up boxes. It's not one I would naturally go for. If I wanted to do just cuts on a bit of paper, absolutely fine. It's 01 tool steel. It's, this is K390, M390, 01 tool steel, which is a tough steel. And if you wanted a score on wood and things like that, great knife to use. Great knife to use. And I love that one. And the last of my favourites is this one. This is a little GEC. This is the number 26, is it? 25. The 26 is very similar. I think it's just, there we go. That is a little beauty, a little small knife. I mean, it's a 3-finger knife, but as a little work knife, absolutely. If you've not got, even sturdy pants, you just want to throw this in the bottom of your pocket. It's small enough that it doesn't imprint that much, where if you got a longer knife, it comes right across the pocket, looks silly. This doesn't. It's small enough to do that. I'm saying small enough. I suppose I should tell you. This is, let me tell you, this is in 1095. Beautifully, fairly thick blade stock, but comes down the point, comes down to a beautiful thin point. Really is a detailed knife, but it's a sturdy little knife, a real sturdy little knife. And let me give you the size comparison. The Jack Wolf knife is 6 3/4, 6 7/8 maybe, and this one is 5 1/4. Do you know what I mean? Just under 5 1/4. So, I should have put that there. 5 1/4. So they're not big knives, any of them, but this is just, I've had this for quite a while now, a couple of years. And any time I've got something to do, I've always gone to this one. But these three are new to my collection this year. And I definitely will go to this one a lot. I've been using this one a lot. And this one, it's a my wee fancy knife with my stag and all on it. I haven't done a whole lot with it, but I have done the user test and what I would use it for. And they're my favourite. I would love to see your favourite detailed knives that your go-to knives for when you want to do detailed work. Now, if I had to do dirty detailed work, as in, more rougher and into materials that are dirty and might stain the knife, I'd probably not use one of these. Is that a cop-out? Maybe. But they're my nice knives. They're beautiful knives. And I'll use them at every opportunity I can where I'm not going to damage them. Does that make sense? They're too dear. Them front two are way too dear. These ones are about 100, maybe 130, when you bought them new. These are well over 200. So they're not going to get to do a lot of dirty work. Fact. But look, like I said before, here's a £2 knife. You can't complain that, you're spending too much on a knife. If a £2 knife, there it is, will do any detailed work that they will do, and even a thinner blade stock, yep, you can hardly see that whatsoever. Let me just show you. It's a real thin blade stock. You'd never have to sharpen them. The pack of blades will last you for donkeys, and you've got two sides, two sharpened points that are readily to use at any time, and just carry a pack of blades. You'll never need to buy one of those. But we do it because this is the hobby. And that's what I'm trying to get into. This is my hobby. And the fact that I've got more expensive knives, brilliant. I welcome it. And I don't believe there's many people wouldn't if you're into the hobby of collecting knives. I'm not into the hobby of one-upping on somebody. I'm into collecting knives because I like them, because of the design. The design's just, it's more, the design is more important now than what the blade steel is, than who the maker is. That design quality I look for, I can get in these knives. There's not much design quality in a bit of plastic. It's even got an axis lock. And for £2, will do everything that them knives there will do. Go figure. So even if you're slightly above that, you're not budget yet, because that's budget. And it will do everything that your budget knives will do, and it's cheaper. My point? Let's run up a bit to, well, I don't know, $10, £8-9. This is an Open L France. Look at that blade. What would you call that? A sheep's foot? Yeah, probably, yeah, I'll call that a sheep's foot, but it's very direct. But look at that blade. And look at the thinness of the blade. There you go. Look how thin that blade is. Not much thinner than a Jack Wolf, I'll be honest with you. But it's a great budget knife. It's locking, where my Jack Wolf isn't. So if that plays into this. And that's what I was saying about, if you're going to do rough jobs that they're going to require, poke and prying, you want a locking knife for that. And this is the perfect locking knife. But it will do everything that those do for under £10. Super. Fantastic knife. And I have about 4 or 5 of them. So why would I do that? Because I like having them. That's simple as that. I love having them. Open L are a great, great way to get in. That's what I call the gateway to pocket knives, because that's what I had in my pocket a lot of the times when I bushcraft. I had a number 6, one of these, and it done everything I ever needed out in the field. Then I've got my Rough Riders, which I love. I think they're excellent quality. This is 3 different blades. So if you weren't sure of the job you were going to do, carrying a Stockman is an amazing knife. It gives you 3 different blade types, which will cover all the jobs. You get the sheep's foot in there. What a fantastic knife. It's thin enough that it's going to cut anything. Do you know what I mean? It will cut it, and I love it. It's a lovely, and if it's rough work I'm going to do, this is what I'm going to take with. I'm not sure. This is what I'm going to take with me. If there's any doubts that now, if I'm out and I need that, I will use it. I don't always carry a cheaper knife with me. That's my main carry most of the time. Most of the time, that'll be my main carry. And it will get used if it needs to. So, detailed work knives, they're there. These are just my favourites, and some of the options you can have if, when you can't afford, £100 to £280 knives, which a lot of people can't, obviously, because it's expensive, especially when you've got a family. My family are all grown up now. I get that option. It's fantastic. I really recommend getting rid of the kids early. But you can get budget and the lock-in knives that are a detailed knife. This is just a wee Kubi. I think it's a 322 or something. It's in D2. It's got an amazing tip. Look at the tip on that blade. Now, let me tell you, this is as thin as the Jack Wolf down at the cutting edge. It is an amazingly well-ground, full flat ground. It's I don't know, it's 30 quid knife, 40 quid knife. It is a stunner. Beautiful little knife with a beautiful action for that price. Will do all the detailed work I like. And if I want to go a little bit higher, there we go. This is one of my favourites when I want to do pokey stabby, work. Now it's not a Warncliffe, it's not a sheep's foot. This is a modified Warncliffe. For want of a better word, it doesn't really matter. It's the 945. in S30V, so good edge retention, great little knife, locking knife again. But this is another knife that I'll grab for and I'll use on anything. This is a work knife. But you can see by the knife, there's not much damage on it. But I'm so glad to have it in my collection. And it's a detail, it's a point. They're all different points at different angles that you can use to do detailed work. And there's the joy in my collection, is having that mixture. I get so much pleasure. I hope there's people out there like me that get the pleasure in having a mixture of knives and not just clumping it together. If I had just all expensive knives, I wouldn't have had as much pleasure finding all these. I still find a huge pleasure when I come across a budget knife that really does just get me excited. This was one, this little Cubie. They're making some fantastic knives. This is the second one I have of them. This is just a perfect, very, very skinny bladed work knife. Super. So there you go. All the very best. Sorry for dragging it on a wee bit longer, but sometimes I get upset. Would you believe that? I'm away for a cup of tea and I lie down in a dark room. Paddy's gone. I hope you enjoyed this. Look, it's not an open tag, but show me your detailed knives, the ones that you like to use and maybe the ones you like to look at a lot. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye now.